So I've spent the past 6 months without using any social media, and I just wanted to kind of talk about that. So firstly, what do I mean by that? Of course, I was still using a bit of YouTube. That is what I'm trying to do here by uploading these videos. And I watch maybe, I don't know, a couple hours of Netflix over the course of my week. So that's the two social medias I'm still using. But Snapchat, Instagram, fucking, I don't know what else, Reddit, TikTok, nothing. None of that shit. So what can I report back to you guys? And the first one is that there are no real downsides. I think one of the big problems with trying to quit social media is this idea that, well, you're going to lose out a lot. There's these big scaremongering kind of techniques that social media uses, that there's going to be FOMO and this fear of missing out on something. There's going to be this fear perhaps even of missing out on real life events because you don't have that same connection with people through social media. And it's something, honestly, I've not experienced at all. I mean, at the end of the day, people are friends with you because they're friends with you, not because it's convenient to speak to you over social media. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to go out with people that I'm friends with, I can still do that, either by talking to them in real life or over something like text or WhatsApp. I don't need to be in a social media group chat where I get sent 10,000 memes a day instead. And also, I don't know, there's just this wider idea of missing out. You're not. I like to give this example to people a lot of the time, people that question whether they can quit social media. And what I like to say is, yesterday, can you name me 5 Instagram posts you saw? How about 3 TikToks or 4 Instagram Reels? And no. I'm not gonna lie, you can't. No one can ever answer that question. They can never say okay, I watched this, because there's no value to anything that's on there. No Instagram post or TikTok or Reel will ever provide you with any value. There's nothing there of any sort of substance, so what is the point? You're not going to miss out on anything because there is nothing inherently to miss out on. And those are the big kind of things that people identify as these flags, as these kind of things that I can't quit social media because of this. But in my experience, they didn't really exist as problems at all. The problem is it's one of those sort of paradoxes, right? Where you believe that it's impossible because you're so used to the current life that you're living. Of course, in your modern viewpoint, where you see your entire communication as being sending people memes and you're not going to be able to talk to people anymore because of your group chat and all this stuff, then it seems like, yeah, my whole life is going to disappear. But the second you stop using social media, when you adapt to that new way of living, you realize that actually you're much more free. There's much more time you have, much less constraint, many more benefits is what I'm trying to say. So speaking of that, let's talk about the specific benefits that I saw through social media. And the first one is better focus. I forgot to find the study for this, and that's annoying, but there was a study that showed, I'll try and put it in the caption actually. There was a study anyway that showed that young children who were exposed to social media or phones more generally for an hour a day only had drastically decreased performance in cognitive tests. Estimates for adults are about 2 hours a day being kind of like the threshold limit, where anything past that, you start to lose real cognitive control. And it is kind of true. I mean, definitely since quitting social media, I've found much more ability to focus. I think the problem a lot of people have is they see phone addiction and social media addiction as the same thing. There's nothing wrong with a phone. I have a smartphone. I use it every single day. I call my parents on it. I listen to music on it. I talk to my girlfriend on it when she's out of the house. Very useful things. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. I don't have any social media on it, and if I did, that would be a big drain of my time, but I don't, and so the smartphone is purely a tool. When you have those things on it though, they act as a distraction. That's when phone use becomes problematic. There's another idea, it's called task switching inside of the productivity and work community. And what it basically says is that your brain, there's no such thing as multitasking, right? Multitasking is just rapidly switching between tasks. And your brain isn't very good at that. It's very good at focusing in on one thing and staying there and getting deep into focus. But the second it's dragged out of that, instantly it loses track of what's gone on in the previous task, and you have to reshift back into gear there. So think of it like that. If you work for an hour and every 5 minutes your phone's pulling you out, then you're never really focused. And there are countless studies that show that we, on average, check our phones between once every minute and every 5 minutes, which is insane. What that basically means is you are never experiencing solitude. Never in your life do you have a moment, because of social media, where you're just there fully present with the thing that you're doing. And that's deeply problematic. I think that's the biggest thing that quitting social media has shown me, is this kind of connection with life, this deeper presence, because I'm not always drawn away from it. When I'm sat down on the street before work waiting on a bench, I'm not on my phone, I'm just looking up and around at the world. When I'm in an uncomfortable situation, the same thing. I have no crutch to fall back on. I'm completely and entirely present, and it's a good thing. And you guys, you should definitely try that. I mean, number 2 is more dopamine. So we know social media is an addiction. And in the same way that, say, pornography or nicotine is an addiction, it releases dopamine. It releases large doses of phasic dopamine. And as we learn, that reduces tonic dopamine levels. So in the same way as other addictions, social media genuinely decreases your appetite for life, your motivation for doing things, your feelings of pleasure. It creates anhedonia within a person. And so, of course, quitting social media and allowing your brain to kind of rewire and rebuild that dopaminergic pathway, the mesolimbic pathway, you'll see vast improvements in your life, in your general motivation, energy, happiness, feelings of pleasure relating to certain things. Maybe you'll find food more tasty or a walk more enjoyable and whatnot. Now, 3rd is a very obvious one, and it's just you get more time, bro. Like, when you use social media, your time fucking disappears. Like, I was never actually that bad myself, but I know people in my life who have like 8 or 9 hours of screen time a day. Like, these are insane numbers, bro. Like, go and check your screen time now, but think about it as a proportion of your day, because these people spending 8 or 9 hours, that is more than half of their waking time spent on a phone. That is insane, brother. And my phone's over there, but I would check it. But I'd say on average, these days I get between about 15 minutes and half an hour of phone use a day. That's the ballpark you want to be aiming for, is anything sub 45 minutes, I'd say. And I mean, all phone use isn't made differently. So for example, 25 to 30 minutes a day of mine is like calling my parents. And so the rest of my phone use is literally like 2 or 3 minutes. I use it for the rest of it. So not all phone use is made the same, but have a look. Just go and check yours, and you'd actually be surprised how much, and you know what? Think about what else you could do with that time. Because a lot of people look at the number and they're like, okay, cool, I spend 8 hours a day. Let's do that again tomorrow. But think about what else you could do. Think about spending 5 hours a day writing a book, or 5 hours a day learning a musical instrument, 5 hours a day reading, 5 hours a day studying, 5 hours extra every day working on a productive business. All of these people say 2 things to me, bro. They say, number 1, I don't have enough time in the day to do these things. Like, how do you work for so long? And then at the same time, they're like, yeah, well, I'm using social media for 5 hours a day. These aren't compatible, bro. If you want to be a driven person, if you want to actually make things happen in your life, to exercise and go to the gym and have a purposeful business that you're working towards and do all these things that will bring you something in this existence, then you can't be spending half of your waking time on your phone. It seems very obvious, but it's true. And then number 4, the final thing, is you just sort of feel less shit when you quit social media. And there's a 2-pronged reason why. And I think the first reason is what a lot of people speak about. There is some truth to the fact that when you constantly compare yourself subconsciously to other people's lives, you become dissatisfied with your own. When you spend your entire time looking at people that have more wealth than you, more, I don't know, women than you, more success than you, then you begin to I don't know, become less satisfied with your own existence. And moving away from that has meant that in a very meaningful way, I've become extremely happy with very little. I can chill now. I sit now in my house that's not a nice house by any stretch of the imagination. I don't have a car. I'm not earning a lot of money. I work 25 hours a week at a fucking restaurant. But I have so much fulfillment in my life because I can do this. I can speak to all 949 of you guys, or I can learn my psychology. That's another thing I'm doing at the moment. I can just get this extra stuff in my life. And then the second part of it is just, I don't know, it's more of like a subjective feeling of just when I use social media, or when I used to use social media, and I'd get out of it at the end of that like fucking 4 or 5 hour binge, I would just feel shit. And I mean, there's biology, neurobiology behind it. The homeostatic balance between that dopamine and pleasure and producing pain, glutamate, substance P inside of your brain. There is genuine pain created, but you feel like literal shit when you finish a big binge of social media. And I don't have that anymore. And it's fucking great. So yeah, try it. Try quitting social media for 1 month, 2 months. Try quitting social media for a week. Just give these things a go. I'd say a good intermediary step, and something I like to advise a lot of people to do, is if you're not ready to quit social media yet, go through every one of your social media accounts. Okay, firstly, actually, delete stuff like TikTok, bro. Like, TikTok needs to just go because it's purely algorithmic. There's nothing on there that you're getting from friends, family, whatever. But on things like Instagram or maybe Facebook, go through it and systematically unfollow every single account who isn't a person that you're likely to see within the next 6 months to a year. So unfollow all the meme accounts, the celebrity accounts, the fucking hot girls. Get rid of every single one of them. Or even those people that are like, oh, I go to school with them. Or like they go to the other school, but I've never actually met them. Unfollow them, bro. Just unfollow every single person that you don't have actual contact with. That is a great first step. And then 2-3 months down the line of doing that, of getting your social media usage time down to 5 or 6 minutes a day, you can make the leap and delete it completely. Anyway, if you gained any value from that video, drop a subscribe and come chat to me on the Discord or give me a call. I'm so proud of you, brother. Manifest excellence. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.